pretty common to want to separate your production environment from development or testing or any other kind of environment you use. You need to be able to move configuration from one environment to another when you work this way. And I want to show you how you can do this with Uniform. So I'm going to start off by looking in Uniform, and I've got a couple of projects. I've got a dev project. I go under Canvas. I can see that I've got compositions and components. But if I go over to my production environment and go into Canvas, I don't have any components or compositions. So I want to take what I've done in my development environment and bring it over to my production environment. To do this, first thing I need is an API key. And if you haven't already watched the tip on how to create API keys, you might want to take a look at that. But I've already done that. I've already created the API key and given it access to both of these different projects. So over in my development environment, I've created a .env file, and this is where I set the values. So the API key and the project ID for both the development project and the production project. The way that I'm going to interact with Uniform in order to retrieve the settings from the dev project and push them into the production project depends on being able to specify these values. And the tool that we use is the Uniform CLI. The Uniform CLI supports a lot of different ways that you can set the API key and the project ID. This is just one, but I think it's one of the easiest ways. So whatever's in this file is going to get picked up by the CLI tool. Next thing I need to do is I need to actually install the CLI tool. So the CLI tool is provided through an npm package. So I do need to have Node installed, and I do have Node installed. So I'm going to do npm i-g. That's going to install these packages globally. And I've got the CLI package and the Uniform dev canvas package. So this is going to install both of those packages globally. And once I have those installed, now I'm going to be able to type the command uniform, and I'm going to see some help. So I've got some canvas commands because I installed the canvas package. The canvas package has some plugins to the CLI, so I'm able to send these canvas operations. So I'm going to do uniform canvas, and I'm going to do component pull, and I'm going to pull these into a folder called components. So this is going to go over to that project and is going to pull out all of the components and serialize them and put them into the folder called components. And I can see that I've got these serialized files in here. Next thing I want to do is I want to do uniform canvas composition pull. So I'm going to pull all the compositions and put those into a folder called compositions. So now I've got not only my components, but also my compositions. Those are serialized and available on disk. Next step is I'm going to push these over to my production project. So I'm going to switch the environment variable so that the production project is active. I'm going to save this. And now if I do a uniform canvas component list, this is going to try to list the components that are available in the project. Since I'm listing it from the production project, I don't get anything back, which is good. That tells me that the production project is now active. So I'm going to do uniform canvas component push, and I'm going to use that component folder. Now it is important that I push the components before the compositions because the compositions are based on the components. So if I try to push the compositions first, I'm going to get an error message. But now I've pushed these components over. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do uniform canvas composition push. And I'm going to push those compositions over to the production project. And now I've got that. I'm going to go over to the production project. And if I go into Canvas, I'm going to see that I've got a couple of compositions and I've got all of my different components. So what I've just done is I have pulled the components and the compositions from the dev project to my local machine. On my local machine, they are saved as serialized files, which gives me the added side effect benefit of being able to put these into source control if that's what I want to do. But now I've got them locally, and then the next step is to push them from my local machine over to the other project, the production project.